Message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah. Now this the black sheep, sticking it to him. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand
My pocket's that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You see, they told me I'm the one that's gonna benefit. Never been a threat.
When I dove into that pool, that's the last UFC subathon I hit.
Oh, for real?
That was in July.
Oh, okay. He dove in there with all his clothes on.
Bro, I turned $22 into $2,400.
Damn.
Yeah, 4 people to win by submission. And I was at my boy Kyle's crib.
It was all plus money?
All plus money. Yeah, because with the submission props,
Yeah.
those are always plus money. Because
Oh.
you can get. So when I bet UFC, I never bet a favorite, like straight up.
It's tough.
It's minus 400, minus 600. Like, I'm not going to do that. But you can get them like plus 200 by submission. Well, you know what? I'd rather do that. And if they win a decision, so be it. And I lose
Right.
my bet.
Okay, but what are the odds of them winning by submission? Like, if you got 10 fights, how many of those are going to win by submission? Because UFC is so tough to
Yeah, I would
it's
say
tough to bet.
I would say it's a good amount of fights, depending on the fighters. Obviously, you got a bunch of like jujitsu guys that are like wizards at it, or girls too. There's a chick fighting this weekend. I think she might be the best fucking jujitsu person in all of UFC,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah.
Mackenzie Dern, she's nasty. But yeah, bro, you could get plus 500, you can get plus 400, you get plus 800. You know, and then you get 4. They're all underdogs. The parlay could be like 98-1.
And you just put a couple bucks on there.
Yeah, I always do it. It's called the subathon, $25 every week. I just pick 3 to 4 fights that I really think are gonna end by submission.
Yeah.
And then I was at my boy Kyle's crib. Shouts to Kyle, and I dove into. I was like, bro, I got to his crib, and it was the last fight I needed for my bet.
Was that during winter or was that summertime?
Nah, July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was good.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
it was good.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, it could be 0 degrees out. I'll jump in the
Still
pool if it
doing
means
it.
it's 2,500.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that.
I'll do that.
Mad at that.
Wayne in the building, back
It's good.
again.
What's up? What's up?
Yo, I didn't get a chance to ask you, actually off air too, I didn't get a chance to ask you, but you was everywhere during Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah, I was
bro.
with a little bit of everybody.
How'd you feel about the Super Bowl being in Vegas?
I think people finally got to see what Vegas was made of. And it held up really well. It was able to handle the capacity, the events, the concerts, the entertainment, the venues. We had enough space for everybody to enjoy themselves. And I think that it was a success. I think by far, Super Bowl Las Vegas was the best Super Bowl event-wise of all the Super Bowls ever. I think, I'm going to say in history, because it really was popping out here. It was lit.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, bro, because you've heard stories about how when the Super Bowl was in Jacksonville in like the early 2000s, they had to bring fucking boats and like cruise ships because they didn't have enough hotels.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
You got that.
Yeah.
history.
It's Vegas was able to hold its own in its own city, held it down. It was packed. It was live. I think all the businesses did really, really well. I think everybody benefited from it. The network here was fucking, I would say, the highest level of networking you can get. You know what I'm saying? I think Vegas did really, really well. I was thoroughly impressed by it, and I feel like they need to have more events here. They need to keep bringing the events here. I think they got to double down on the Super Bowl. I think leaving and coming back the year after that, like just to, double down on it again, because everybody make money out here. You got gambling, you got everything is here.
Yeah.
And you go other places, it's not as entertaining. You know what I'm saying? We got everything here that you would need as far as advice.
Bro, you ain't kidding, for sure. And the craziest thing about it is I think that it's going to be in the rotation because the rotation's pretty obvious. If you look at like the Super Bowls.
Yeah. New Orleans
Orleans next year, Miami.
LA. Colorado.
I would say Cali as a whole because they've done it in San Diego, Santa Clara, LA now with the new stadium. They'll definitely have Dallas because of Jerry World.
Right. And then you got Colorado's popping now, so they got to do it out there.
And anyone new that's making a stadium, they kind of get ushered in with a new Super Bowl being held there. But yeah, Vegas got to be in the rotation, bro. Without a doubt.
I'm thinking, well, I need to say every 10 years, but I think we should do Vegas every 3, 4.
Nah, I think every 3-4 years for
Yeah,
sure.
it
Because
has
bro,
to
it was in Miami in 2019,
Mhm.
and I think 2 years from now it's gonna be in Miami.
Again, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up right now
Yeah.
Super Bowl host venues.
Because
'Cause I
they
know-
don't do the Super Bowl everywhere, right? It's based on. I wonder what the criteria is.
Nah, it's been in Miami.
Mhm.
It's been in Miami 11 times.
Damn.
It's been in, and I mean like
How many times have you been in New Orleans?
outside of Vegas, bro. That's the only other place I want to live in.
Yeah, outside of Vegas.
I mean, it's Latina Central down there, and that's I'm pretty
Colombian,
simple with
Dominican.
that. Yeah, Cuban,
Puerto Rican,
everything.
Cuban,
It's the best. Brazilians too.
everything.
Sprinkled
bro.
down there too.
Everything. Everything.
Miami 11 times, New Orleans 10 times.
Mm.
I was right about LA. They put the
San-
greater LA
Mm.
region 8 times. Tampa has it 5 times.
And how long has the NFL been around?
So the Super Bowls, there's been 58 of them, right?
Also 58
So
years.
58 years. And then
Okay.
they got Atlanta 3 times.
So we already got 28 of those 58 in the 3 major cities.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of obvious too, right? Like you want it to be
Yeah.
in good weather or it got to be in a dome.
Yeah.
Like it's been in Minnesota twice.
And
both
Minnesota
times.
just got a dome though.
Yeah. Well, they
Couple years
had
ago.
one. They had the Metro Dome in 92.
Oh,
And then
okay.
the new one is a dome also.
Okay.
And like Detroit got one. That one is it's a dome also. Because you
Right.
can't have it. Like that's why the Super Bowl in New York was so ass because
It
I was
freezing
there.
out there.
it was cold. It snowed that week.
Is that when Seahawks played Broncos?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
fucking freezing out.
The game sucked and also
They got blown out.
they got blown out. Yeah. Bro, it was whack. It was so whack. So if you're looking at it, right, like Miami, they hosted the Super Bowl in 2020.
Mhm.
And then New Orleans, it's been a minute 2013. So
Yeah.
they're getting it back.
Yeah, they're getting it back.
And then you got
It's
Tampa.
been 10 years since New Orleans,
Yeah.
right?
Tampa in 21.
Mhm.
You got Phoenix in 2023. Who was it in 2022?
Oh, Phoenix be lit.
yeah. Phoenix
be lit.
is dope too.
lit. Yeah, Phoenix is lit.
2022. Why can't I see it? Why was there not a
No, we had a Super
Oh, it
Bowl
was
in
LA.
2022.
It
Yeah,
was
LA.
LA,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, LA.
Nah, I know they had a Super
Well, was
Bowl.
that COVID?
No, 2022 was the Rams. When the Rams won it in their
Oh,
building.
yeah, yeah. The Rams played the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Damn, the Bengals doubled down. They went back twice
They've lost twice in the Super Bowl.
in a row, right?
No. They lost in the AFC title game the year
Oh,
after.
a title game. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, bro, I agree with you, man. Just to put a bow on this conversation, I feel like Vegas definitely got to be in the rotation, and brings me into this conversation that I want to have with you too. And I feel like I know your answer, but we're gonna talk a little bit about the NBA. A lot of crazy shit been going down, but Adam Silver came out and he said that Vegas is gonna be one of
Mhm.
the finalists for bringing the team here.
Mhm.
And I feel like
Is it Vegas and Seattle?
Vegas, Seattle, another team in Florida, and then another team in the Midwest. So Vegas,
the
Seattle
Midwest?
were like the 2 cities that they actually identified. And then they're talking about Midwest, the down south Florida region, and then potentially in international team, probably Canada.
Oh, Canada would be Canada. would
Yeah,
be
like they
something.
used to have the Vancouver Grizzlies, so they only got the Raptors now. But I feel like I know your answer, and I feel like it should be Vegas. But
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
We have the market, but we also have all the distractions. Will we be good is a question because the Raiders can't focus out here.
Yeah.
So NBA guys that wear no helmet and that we all know who they are, how are they going to be able to focus in the city full of sin and distractions, no clocks, 24-hour gambling? How does that look? A shit show. Will they be profitable? Absolutely. Because we will support them. But will it be good for that team? Will it be good for the NBA? Yes. Will it be good for that team? No. There's going to be a bunch of degenerates on there. They're going to be the new version of the Wizards, like the Raiders, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be a basketball version of the Raiders.
Yeah.
It's too much here.
Bro,
I like it though. I like
Yeah.
him coming here because we are getting a sports culture here finally that's very, very important outside of boxing.
Mm.
And it's
Yeah,
gonna-
because all the fights are always here.
right.
But now you actually got the sports.
We have
I
sports.
fuck with that. I agree with you.
We
Yeah.
have sports here now. Now we're building that sports culture and community here, and it's going to do a lot for not only for the city but for us, potting and everything else. So I think we absolutely should be the front runner not like the finalists. I think we should be number one to bring in a team here. Look at what we did for the Super Bowl in
Yeah.
one day. And then imagine the NBA championship here. Oh, well, if they go to the championship, having that here, that would be crazy.
Shit, it would be crazy. You ain't kidding, bro. I'm laughing as you're talking about all this. And when you said the city of sin,
Mhm.
I went out, was it Friday night? I think I
Mhm.
went out Friday night. I went to XS, Shaq's Fun House. And I posted about this.
You went? It was lit. in there.
Yeah, it was pretty dope,
It was lit in
man.
there, yeah.
And like so many fucking, like every other person you looked at was like a celebrity or
It was,
athlete.
it was somebody, yeah, for
It was
sure.
nuts. And then
Yeah.
I got, know some people that know some people, so I didn't have to wait in line. And then I'm looking, I'm like, damn, you waiting in line? I felt so cool. So it stroked my ego
Yeah.
crazy. But bro, we're in there and my boy hits me up. Shouts to Zach. He was here over the weekend.
Mhm.
And this is how you know I'm a little crazy and a little sick, bro.
Right, wow.
He's like, yo, I just dapped up Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards was out here
Yeah.
doing Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, okay.
Bro, the first thing I do,
Mhm.
I go to ESPN. I look to see if he's playing the next day.
Bet.
It's going to take all the unders.
Oh, wow.
But he wasn't playing until Monday, so they had a couple of days
Mhm.
off.
Yeah.
And I replied to my boy, I was like, fuck, yo. He's like, you a fan of his? I was like, yeah, I fuck with him, but they're not playing until Monday. He's like, so? I was like, I wanted to bet all his unders.
Bet all the unders in this
He's like,
scoring.
yo, that's incredible,
Yeah,
bro.
I ain't mad at that shit. You
got
see-
some issues.
You seen an opportunity. Yeah, shit, you got to be opportunity.
I've told you my 11 story.
No.
Oh my God. Everyone that listens to the show, they're probably sick of it, but it always gets like a great reaction. So 2019, this is when like Hassan Whiteside is still on the Miami
Right.
Heat. This is when Deion Waiters is on Miami, and they're kind of ass. They're not that good.
Mhm.
We went down to Miami for my boy Danny's bachelor party,
Mhm.
and we're all from New York.
Right.
And I've been going to Miami since I was 21. So like I made some friendships and relationships that I maintain, and some of the girls that I know, they work at 11.
Right.
And great girls, by the way. They hit me up. They meet up with us at the beach Friday afternoon, right?
Mhm.
So Friday night is the basketball game. And they're like, what are you guys here in town for? And we're like, oh, it's my boy's bachelor party. You know, we love coming to Miami. The one girl goes, are you guys Nets fans? And we're like, nah, I like the Knicks, whatever.
Mhm.
She's like, oh, okay. I was like, why you mention that? It's like, oh, they were partying with us till like 7:30 this morning. Yo, immediately, bro. I take my phone, I text my bookie back home in New York. And I was like, yo, I need X amount of dollars on the Heat.
Mhm.
Heat were like plus 140. He's like, why? Because I don't bet regular season basketball. I've talked about this. I think it's the worst sport to bet on regular season. Because we're gonna get into it in a little bit, but like dudes are on minute restrictions, dudes are resting
Right.
third game in 4 nights, and sometimes you don't even know. You'll put your bet in, and then at 4:15 Pacific time, they'll be like, oh yeah, Embiid's out. You're like,
Yeah,
fuck, yeah,
randomly.
I just took the Sixers -8.
Right, randomly.
Like
random.
there
That's
goes
a
my
fact.
bet,
That's
and
a
it's
fact.
the worst. Like the NBA is the worst for that. I love betting playoff basketball is my shit. So my boy goes, yo, why you need that much money, dude? And I got all my friends. I was like, yo, let's just all throw 200. We'll just,
How many people was it?
it was like 11 of us.
Oh, okay.
So we had a crazy, so my bookie is like, that's a lot of money for you motherfuckers
Yeah.
in a regular season.
Money line
January.
plus 140.
Yeah, like what do you guys
He was
know?
nervous.
So long story short, even though I've been going for a little bit, Nets are down 30 at halftime, bro.
Wow.
And I felt like the man.
Wow.
It was dope, bro. And
How
Joe,
much ticket for it?
I think we got back like 4,300.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up going out like the next day.
Yeah.
And we were just like, yo, this is on the Nets. We were just talking mad shit in the club. And Hollis Jefferson used to play for the Nets. He was at the free throw line. And my boy yells out, yo, how was 11? And you just see him smirk. And we're like,
Oh, for real?
yeah, let's go, bro.
That's funny.
Let's
Oh, so
go.
you actually went to the game too?
Yeah, we went to the game.
Oh, okay.
Because like, yo, it was a Nets Heats game, right?
Yeah.
So tickets were like $100, and we were like low, like right behind the hoop. We're like, yo, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the famous iconic.
Having that kind of insight though is important because
Bro,
when you
Woj
bet
don't
blindly.
get that.
Yeah.
Woj don't get that. Adam Schefter don't get that insight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. They don't know.
We got the source.
We got the chicks.
Shout out to 11, bro,
Right.
forever.
That's funny as hell.
But yo, you think shit like that would be going down in Vegas, right? especially for the teams coming to visit, bro.
Yeah, and I think that I think it'll play a part on both sides because you have a team coming in. Of course, they know the odds, bro. Vegas will always be a tricky place to bet because if the team is here, they literally have an insurable interest, a gambling insurable interest for them to win or lose based on props, over-unders, and a side. Players will be making whatever amount of money on the side, even through their homeboys. So it'll be tricky. Like, I don't touch the Raiders and I don't touch the Knights. The Knights will be down. The Knights will be up 4-0, and then it's 4-4. It's
corruption.
It's Vegas. Granted, they've been to the Stanley Cup twice.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it comes to the score, they have control over it. So I think it'll be, you know, it'll be a little tricky for that Vegas team if they do decide to come here.
I think they end up coming here, bro. Like LeBron has talked about it so many times, and you know that he got the sauce. He'll be able to make that happen. And now that it's been mentioned, because in the past, and that's why the NFL was so hypocritical, bro, for so long, because what they would do is they would shit on betting. They would shit on it, like, you know.
Publicly, but they were betting.
Yeah. But I'm saying not so much like the players, but just like the organization. Mm-hmm. And they would tell people on TV, don't mention the point spread. And you can't say someone's a 7-point favorite. You got to be like, oh, I think they win by double digits. And then you're looking at it as a consumer at home. You're saying, oh, shit, Wayne is the betting guy on CBS. He can't say that he likes the -7, but he'll say shit like, oh, they're going to win by 2 scores or 2 touchdowns. Yeah. And in your head, you're like, oh, okay, so he likes them to cover. And then what they ended up doing is every sports book is partnered with a team. They brought a team to Vegas.
Wait. Every sports book is partnered with a team?
Bro, every NFL team has a partnership with a sports book, whether it's Caesars, MGM, FanDuel, like every single one of them.
Direct partnership.
Yeah, you know, like ads.
How does that work? I wonder how does that work with prop bets? So
they'll
bonuses. How does that work?
No, just move closer to your mic real quick. I just got that. It's like brand deals, bro. You know, they'll have like the DraftKings lounge at MetLife Stadium, or, you know, all the players do promo codes and all the ads for it.
No, I get that, but if you have a partnership with them, that means that there's an incentive there. What is the incentive? With a gambling app or sports book, what's the incentive for the partnership?
I mean, more people are going to watch your sport.
No, facts. But the players, it's an incentive for them
too.
I'm
sure they're getting more and more money too, and incentives, and their contracts and bonuses are going up.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's a big part of why these new CBAs be popping up left and right, and new TV deals. A lot of that is the gambling too. Like, don't get it twisted. The reason why Thursday Night Football is so popping, even though every fan hates it and players even hate it too. They're like, bro, we just got in a car wreck 4 days ago. Now we got to go do that shit again.
Yeah.
They don't like it, but there's a lot of money there. And the gambling has made it more interesting for your average fan that's chilling at home on a Thursday night. They'll throw the TNT game on and throw $25-$50 on a same game parlay, or
millions of them.
Yeah.
$50 bets.
Yeah. And then it adds up, man. And that just accumulates. And then there's a trickle down effect. And that's just part of it. And with the NFL, what was so hypocritical is, you know, that's why Adam Silver is dope. Because Adam Silver, you know, he did the Donald Sterling thing initially. So he won the fans and the players over.
Yeah.
So, yo, we're not having that shit in the league.
Facts.
Under me. And you shouldn't. And then he was like, yeah, I'm pro betting and gambling. I don't want you as a player to do it. But yeah, we're going to open up the partnerships, and we understand that when there is a gambling and betting element to it, it's just more interesting, bro.
And then you got, even on the NFL, I think they had like 69 people gambled on the NFL. So imagine what that looks like revenue-wise.
You're talking about like players?
No, just in general. There were 69 million bets.
Oh, 69 million bets. Okay. Yeah.
Placed on the Super Bowl alone.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Shit. And that's only like probably from 1 or 2 sports books, like, or like a certain city or state.
68 million bets.
Yeah.
That's not including the in games.
Right.
Halftime.
Yeah.
So you
or the shit like under the table.
Yeah,
that
that
still goes
hand
on.
to hand bookie
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, the old school way.
Shit, it's probably 100 million bets, bro.
Dude, that is insane. So I think, I think that we've entered a dangerous space, because you have gambling is now on the forefront of sports, and that actually comes first now, more than the actual game itself, because you got everybody's involved, including the refs,
Yeah.
coaches, fans are invested. They're leaving and walking out and crashing out during games when their players aren't scoring. I mean, how much do you think it affected the sport?
So this has always been my take.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever sports betting gets legalized or a new state comes in, I think now they're up to 38 states that you can go and wager.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, when you go back a couple years ago, people had an issue with sports betting because it would ruin the integrity of the game, right? Like how many times would you hear that?
Oh, you still hear it.
You
So
still
they're saying
hear
that
it
it
now. Right,
ruined
right.
the integrity of the game
So,
now.
but here's the thing. If you look at any scandal ever, outside of Tim Donaghy, which was outrageous because it was an actual NBA referee, right?
Mhm.
And you're going to have that happen. Like not everyone is perfect. Not every league is perfect. You're going to have that happen in your league.
Mhm.
What is always left out is that it was the sports books that identified it.
Mhm.
It was the casinos that were like, yo, bro, you know, this guy's a ref.
Mhm.
He's the one through affiliation that is pulling the strings. And like, yo, we've seen him with Wayne on vacation.
Mhm. Yeah.
How come Wayne pulling up with $500,000 in a backpack?
Right.
They start connecting the dots to trace it back to him. And then
Right.
that's why all that shit goes down.
Mhm.
And the integrity of the game was never going to be jeopardized because, bro, if us two know LeBron James, we're homies with him, how much could we realistically give him? Or Chris Paul or Steph Curry to be like, yo, bro, can you throw this game? They're gonna be like, get out of my face, bro. I make what you're offering me in
Right.
one possession.
Right.
But where you do see issues go down, and the kid, I think his name was Booty, who played for LSU, the wide receiver, that got, he ended up going to the Patriots, and he made like 8,900 bets when he was at LSU. That's where it could be corrupted. Because even if you have NIL at the college level, bro, that's where they're easier to access. Friend of a friend,
You give them that 20 or that 40K.
yeah,
They'll do whatever.
there is where you got to worry about the integrity
Right.
of the game, bro. And
But-
if you look all the way back in history, every scandal has been at the college level.
Facts. But even in the NBA, you might not be able to penetrate the key players, but you can penetrate the second team on missing free throws, missing shots, not keeping the game as close. You can get to those guys.
Right.
You can get to those, especially you meet somebody with a gambling addiction, which there's probably like 2 or 3 of them on every single team that gambles, right? You get with those guys, and then you have the integrity of the sport being compromised due to the fact that you got cats on your bench that's not giving forth the right amount of effort because they want parlay to hit, or their boys parlay to hit, or they need to hit under a certain number of rebounds or scoring, or the game needs to hit a certain point. So I think if it doesn't hit the main players, it hits the subpar players, the secondary guys, third guys.
Yeah, but I feel like those guys could be identified more.
Not really. Not really, because let's say in the NFL, you really don't know everybody, but there's a guy who jumps off sides and then he subs out of the game. They put the right guy in. It's so much small stuff that you don't pay attention to. Like, who's number 58? Like, how did he jumped off sides when? It's first and 15 now. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so much micro. There's micro integrity issues too. There's big integrity issues, obviously, that affects the whole course of the game. But then there's micro integrity issues too that affect the micro aspects of the game, such as free throws, fouls, text being called, or just little things like that. You have the micro aspect too, so you can't like not factor that aspect in, because there are little micro aspects of the game that are huge in the end.
Yeah, it's interesting, bro. I just always like, maybe it's because I'm very passionate about this, and I don't really be like passionate about many things, but sports betting, obviously, like everything that I'm doing,
Yeah, you like
it's
it.
always been something that I feel like has gotten a negative stigma around it, and the conversation around it has always been wrong, in my opinion, at least. But you're right, man. And look, there's a lot of people that shit. How many people did you watch the Super Bowl with?
I did. So I was peopled out by Sunday.
Okay.
I needed some time.
But like any game you've ever watched with anybody,
Mhm.
when they have a bet on something
Serious.
and it don't go their way, don't they say shit's rigged?
Yeah, they blame you or they blame the ref or
It's the
it's just
ref.
fake.
They
It's
got
fake.
the call. Like, bro,
Mhm.
it's always.
But coincidentally, let's say if you got an under, why are you going down shooting the three? Now, I understand that if your money's not on the game and that guy shoots that same three, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when you have your money on the game and they're down by 10 and you need it to go under and he comes out and shoots a pointless three and they still lose the game by 7, it's still a loss in your eyes, but you're like, well, you didn't need the three. It didn't make a difference. But in his mind, it affects his average, right? And he would much rather lose by 7 than 10.
Mm.
And there's ego involved. So he's an athlete. So it all depends on where you're at and what the bet actually was that it's going to get the whatever response to it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just based on individual, but it's a lot of weird shit that goes on when you got money on the game for some strange reason. I don't know if it's just coincidence or what, but
No, but I also think you're more invested, like what I said before. So you're paying attention to more
everything.
shit. You're paying attention to everything, bro.
Everything.
Nothing gets past you when you got money on it and you need that dude to get 24 and a half.
Mhm.
Everything, like, man, they ain't call that foul, bro.
Right.
Shit's rigged.
When I bet overs and unders, bro, I pay attention to the clock. I want the clock to go as
Yeah.
fast as possible.
But yo, so you know what they say about unders, right? It's the only bet that when the game starts, you're already winning.
You're already winning. Yeah.
So just mentally, you're always ahead
Mhm.
when you bet the unders. But a lot of people don't like betting unders, whether it's NFL, baseball, any sport, because it's boring, right? Like everyone that bets unders, it means you don't want points to go down. You don't want touchdowns. You don't want scoring. So the stigma to unders is you're rooting for boring, whereas overs is popping, it's dope, it's explosive
But they
plays.
have to score.
They have to score.
And the odds of them scoring, can you look up the average on what overs and how many overs and unders hit, like versus unders and overs, and what's the actual average? Like, where do you see the most winning percentage average?
I'm pulling it up right now, but I would say that just off the top of my head, I know for a fact that
what sport? Basketball, right?
Okay,
let's
staying with basketball. Unders are what like professional bettors bet all the time. Because again, like the public, bro, if you're watching a game with someone and it's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter and it's 88-89, what are they saying? Oh, this shit was boring. Right? If you're asking someone from the 90s and the 80s, they're probably like, this is what real basketball is like. But nowadays, you ask someone in their mid-20s or young 20s, early 20s, like, this shit is whack, bro. There's no scoring.
But refs, believe it or not, from what I've learned, refs determine the under and the over. If they don't call enough fouls, more than likely the game is going to go under. So when you're betting overs and unders, you have to pay attention to who the refs are.
Oh, yeah, bro. So what's crazy in the NBA, right? And talk about corruption. I'm just blown away about that dude, Scott Foster.
Is that the guy who doesn't like Chris Paul?
Yeah. Chris Paul was like 0-18.
0-18
in
with
the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, bro, how is that not
investigated?
Yeah.
Or like,
there gotta be an agenda there, bro. Because that's way too obvious.
That's like OD. When I heard that, I'm like, and they just make that announcement like that's normal. That's weird, ain't it?
It's so weird, bro.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And it's wild that he'll be given opportunities to ref
the games that he's in.
It's just insane because I'm pulling up the record right now. But bro, I remember he was like 0-14 in games in which he was playing. And it was just, it's wild. He's been teed up the most by him.
I wonder why. Did you just have a vendetta against him or what?
I don't know, man.
What is it?
I don't know.
Why don't you like Chris Paul that much as a ref?
But with the betting shit, that's where, like, bro, I would have people hit me up and be like, yo, you got to bet against Chris Paul tonight because Scott Foster's a ref.
Are you betting the under on him in that game? Like he's not going to score more.
No,
than
you would probably bet.
Just bet the side.
Bet the side, yeah. Like why even get crazy? And like, look, a lot of the teams Chris Paul was playing on all these years, they were probably the favorite in those games, right? Like when he was with the Clippers, when he was with the Suns too. Like these are good teams. Like these teams went to the finals, conference finals. Like these were legit teams. So you probably were getting like plus 130 on the other side.
Sometimes plus 240, depending on.
But bro, when you see shit like this, man, it's so. And even in the NFL, you'll see referees that you'll get reports if you really do the research, and it'll be like, oh, this officiating crew, their games tend to go over because they don't throw as many penalties. Or their games go under because they don't throw as many penalties, and the clock is just constantly running. Little things like that. Or
makes a difference.
This team calls the most holding plays on defense. And then if you're looking at it like, oh shit, you're playing the Bengals and you got all these stud wide receivers, they're gonna call all these holding penalties. Like maybe you lean towards Cincinnati. Yeah. But again, it's so weird, man, because I get it when people are outraged. I don't think sports are rigged. I feel like there's way too many mouths to keep closed for it not to be leaked out.
So there has to be, so if they're not rigged, then there's an agenda. And if there's an agenda, it goes right back to being rigged. So if the agenda is, let's just, for instance, let's say the agenda this year is for the Celtics and Clippers to be in the finals. That's the agenda. If we're looking at the Celtics and the Clippers to be in the finals, that means that stuff has to go a certain way for these teams to be there. The agenda, which if it's rigged, then if you want to say it's rigged, then it's all followed by the same thing. So there's agenda, there's a storyline behind it. Obviously, we all thought that San Francisco and the Ravens was going to be the play.
Yeah.
That was a conspiracy theory, and they were almost right.
But also, what always gets left out is that them two were the best teams all year too.
Facts. So we forgot about San Francisco because Purdy had a slump around that time.
Yeah.
But even with that, right, there's always an agenda because it has to be calculated. Everything has to make sense across the board because you're talking about market share, right? You have to have the market share and it has to be entertaining. So based on viewership, fan base, jersey sales, these teams need to be here because this is going to accumulate this much money for us as a business as a whole. It has to go that way. So it's kind of rigged. There's an agenda there. Now, I understand what you're saying. You like, how can it be rigged when there's so many moving pieces? But there's so many moving pieces, but only a couple of those pieces actually control the narrative. And refs are the number one caveat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, bro, the influence I think that a referee has in the NBA is like no other in any sport. Because, I mean, every call is subjective.
Yeah.
But with the NBA, bro, if you could rig it by just, Giannis is going to pick up 2 fouls within the first 3 possessions. And then he got to go to the bench for 8 minutes. And then that's their best guy.
What about this? What about Giannis get a foul and he look at the ref and go, was that a foul? And the ref tee him up.
Yeah.
What is that?
And you know what's crazy?
What is that?
Yeah, you know what's crazy, bro? That documentary, I think it's Untold on Netflix, where they talk about Tim Donaghy.
Yeah.
They go back and like, I think it might have been AI or maybe Rasheed Wallace, but it was one of the more like animated, outspoken players said like, bro, this guy got something against me.
Yeah.
Because I just asked him, like, yo, do you call that? And he teed him up. And then another, like, BS play goes out and they throw him out the game.
Boom. And then you got the conspiracy. Listen, y'all, those who are listening, I'm just going to address it. The magnets in the ball. Is that a real thing? Is that a real the magnets in the ball, is that a real fucking thing? Come on. I've seen a lot of videos, and y'all can look these videos up. Magnets in the ball. Now, again, this is all based on what I've seen. It's all conspiracy. So I'm not going to, there's not a definite, like it's true. But they had one game where they said the magnet was on and Steph was making threes like he couldn't stop. Then they turned it off halftime. He couldn't make a fucking shot to save his life when he played against the Houston Rockets. Now, what do you guys think? Are there magnets in the ball?
Yeah, I'll be
what do you
honest,
think? And I know you heard that before because you on your shit. So
Yeah.
tell me what's your thoughts on magnets being in the ball? That is the number one conspiracy out there. And I know
Wait.
you've seen some videos.
I have. But
Okay.
I can't get behind this, bro. I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
I don't think so.
Okay. So no magnets in the ball.
Nah. I think you're just like shoot, right? And you're talking about Steph Curry, and I'm sure there's probably other players
Yeah.
too. But these are like the cream of the crop, bro. Like these dudes.
Absolutely. But Steph, the shit that he makes sometimes.
Yeah. Nah, there is like he's a video game player for sure.
Facts.
Like the shit he does is wild.
Mhm.
I pulled up the NBA over and unders.
What do we got percentage-wise?
Percentage-wise? It's the last 5 years.
Mm.
So I'm gonna read you the overs first.
Okay.
49.8% in 2018-19, 52% in 2019-2020,
Mhm.
49.8% in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, it was 49.5. In 2023, 50.3.
Mhm.
Right now, up until this point in 2024, 51.2 to the over.
Mm.
On the flip side, 49.1% in 2018
Under.
to the under, 47% in 2019, 49% in 2021, 48% in 2022, 48% in 2023, 47% in 2024.
So on
we
average,
got
you have like a 3.7% win on betting the over,
over. Yeah.
in the NBA.
In the NBA, yeah. And then you get a 2%, well, 1.5% on pushes.
Is it worth betting at that point? Considering the fact that you only have a 3.7% percentage of actually hitting this bet, is it over under in the NBA worth betting at this point?
I would say, and this is
Based on those numbers the past 5 years.
Yeah. Based on those numbers, I would
Mhm.
say I probably wouldn't. I would look to bet it when it's a solid number. So like if it's 217,
Mm-hmm.
because then you have the push element.
Mhm.
If it's 217 and a half, maybe there I won't play it.
Mhm.
And then the other thing that's interesting is there's always a massive, you don't see it so much in the regular season because the matchups are always different. Like Hawks play the Knicks, then they'll play the Mavs, then they'll play the Spurs, right? But in the playoffs, bro, one of my favorite things to bet on is it's called the zigzag theory.
Mhm.
So like
Explain that.
if you
Never
have
heard of it.
say the total is 220.
Okay.
Right? Game 1 220
Mhm.
and it's Bucks Clippers in the finals.
Okay.
The over under is 220. First game is 101-102.
Mhm.
Goes 17 points under.
Under.
The next game,
You bet the over.
yeah, because they'll set it to like
204.
probably like 209,
212
212 range.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, bro, what changed from game one? What y'all thought
Mhm.
the total was going to be 220. Now you got it at 209
Mhm.
because it was low scoring in game one. I'll always bet it over. When
Mm.
I have a 4 to 5 swing point swing,
Mhm.
that to me is substantial. And I'll always I call it in betting, I say this term often, I call it situational betting,
Mhm.
right? It's one of those where like, I won't even look at the teams. If you just hit me up and be like, yo, bro, game one, the total was 220.
Mm.
Game two, it's 209. I'm taking the over.
Mm.
And then it works the other way too, where like they might do it where they set the total at 220 and they drop 248. Right?
Mm.
Like it's a crazy game and it didn't go to overtime.
Yeah,
it's just one of those games where it's like 130 to 120.
Mhm.
And then the next one, it works the other way too, where it was 220. Now it's 227.
Right.
You're like, damn, bro, what changed?
Right.
When it's that big of a swing, I kind of always.
So basically, on certain playoff games, you want to bet over, under,
Yeah.
over, under. But then are you looking at the 4 to 3 point swing on So when you're betting the over when the previous over from the first game is actually 4 points lower.
Lower, yes.
And then you're betting the under when the next game, the over-under is 3 to 4 points higher.
Correct.
Zigzag.
And the reason why it's significant in the playoffs is because it's the same matchup. So it's going to be Clippers Bucks in game 2 and game 3.
And one of those games are going to be a push. Because they just can't let you hit every play. It's not going like that. I like that.
I want to do a Patreon read real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Talk about, because this was a fun combo, man, and these are some of my favorite ones where you're thinking on the fly and kind of just having an open combo about like the sports betting world, and it's cool. So I definitely appreciated that. Let's do a Patreon, and then we'll talk about like what we've seen so far in the NBA. Patreon.com/veterans minimum. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see it up on the screen right now. We have a $1 tier, a $5 tier where you get access to the betting picks and the Discord. Big UFC card this weekend. Was going to try to get a fighter on, but they couldn't make it because they are actually fighting on the card. And also, it was a terrible booking by my end, Wayne, because I know the fight game, we can't really talk to people during
the fight,
during their camp,
they'd be locked
like week of. So it was a terrible mistake on my end. But we got Daniel Gibson, Mahul Patel, Abel Rezin, Ben Kotzian, Christopher Velasquez, Derek Plades, Dylan Chadwick, Jerry Shapiro. We also have, as my computer is acting up, we got Jordan Riley, Mike Stevens, Mike Wozniak, Nick Crummich, and Thomas Robinson. Thank you all for your contributions to the Patreon. Remember, if you pledge to the Patreon in the $10 tier or higher for the month of February, you'll be eligible for the giveaway, which is the Super Bowl 58 helmet that we had in studio. We packed it up and we put it in the back.
Oh, that's the one in there?
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah. And,
y'all, you guys got to sign up for that.
Got to sign up for that just for February, $10 tier or higher. And then we'll do the drawing on a show in March. Patreon.com/veterans minimum to support the show, support the brand. Okay.
Thank you guys. Go support the Patreon.
Talk to him, baby. Talk to him. All right. We got All-Star Week, right? It's not really the midpoint of the season, though they try to treat it like it's the midpoint.
It kind of is. You got March, April, May, June.
Yeah.
You got actually April is when the teams start.
You're right in the sense of like it is the midpoint of the basketball season from start to championship, but the regular season, everyone's played about like give or take 58 to 60 games. And I want to kind of just like pick your brain on the regular season. How do you feel about the regular season? I always ask people this when I talk loose with them because I feel like the players do everything in their power to make us not interested in the regular season when they're not interested in the regular season.
Well, it's a lot of games, bro. You got these cats playing basketball every other day. I don't know if you tried to play basketball every day for a week. You do jiu-jitsu every day.
Yeah.
So imagine fighting at this high level every day, every other day. They're human. So you're going to get fatigue, uninterested. You got problems at the crib. You got habits. You got health. You got bone issues, ligament issues. You got attitude problems. You got everything that goes into being a human being, an athlete, and performing at a high level. Yes, it's going to be uninteresting because they're playing basketball every fucking day. For almost, 8 months?
Yeah.
Granted, we can say, well, they're millionaires. That's what they were paid to do, but they're humans first. Millionaire, basketball second, and millionaire third. So I believe that, yes, it becomes uninteresting because it's the same teams playing against each other. It's all the time, every day. They're really familiar. It's not exciting unless I think Anthony Edwards keep me interested in certain games. But it's where it's at. I like to watch it after All-Star break because they're rested. They done got to spend time with their kids and their families, and they're back interested in the game again. So I like, now it gets serious. From November until now, it's kind of just like pity pat playing around and just getting the rookies acclimated to the game. But now it's serious. It's playoff time and it's ready to go. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm just impressed. Well, I'm more shocked about where everything is at right now as far as the rankings where the teams are at. Like OKC is number 2 in the West. You got the Minnesota Timberwolves is number 1. Clips are number 3. And then on the East, you got Boston as a huge front runner.
Yeah,
Um,
they're up ahead like 6.5 games.
Yeah, so I'm more impressed at seeing the Minnesota Timberwolves and OKC are at number 1 and number 2, which I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Maybe since when KD and Russ.
Yeah,
was
it's been
playing,
a minute for them.
It's been a minute for them. So that rebuilding stage for these new programs is like, you know, it's there. Like the guys are maturing, and I think that's what's making it like interesting. The Warriors are what, 5?
Warriors right now are
No, Mavs are 8.
Nah, they're 10th.
Okay, 10th.
Yeah, because they're fighting for a play-in spot.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's been like 55 games, give or take.
Mhm.
I said 60. It was 55.
Mm.
You mentioned something that I couldn't agree with you more on with like Anthony Edwards, SGA
Mhm.
also. And the common theme with them and their teams is that they're young. And I bet the Thunder to be a top 3 seed at the beginning of the year is like plus
I would have
400.
never guessed it.
I split the ticket with Jeremiah. And my thinking
I was on the fence about Chet.
So, yeah, it was them getting Chet, but also like their young guys. Their young guys have been like SGA made All NBA last year, right? So he took the leap, and you need to have a guard like that to be able to take over things and for him to be so dominant like he has been. But their team is so young that they don't know any better about the regular season. And if you look at like the history of the league, like remember the Spurs? They didn't care if they were a 7 seed, a 2 seed.
They
Like, it
didn't
didn't matter.
care.
Let's just get healthy.
Yeah, they didn't care.
If you look,
Spurs are still fucking around and
the
win.
younger teams always tend to do better in the regular season because they haven't been through the long, grueling playoffs and the finals. Like even the Cavs with LeBron, they were just like, oh, whatever, man. Let's just get in. Let's just be healthy. Even with the Lakers, he was doing the same thing, bro. And I mean, last year they were a 7 seed and they went to the conference finals. And last year was Memphis, was the young team that was the upstart that got to the next level and they were a top 3 seed. And I was on Memphis for the same reason that I was on the Thunder. The Timberwolves definitely surprised me because I just don't like Rudy Gobert. I think him and Karl Anthony Towns, like that mesh just don't, it's just funky, man. And
why?
I wouldn't, and I'm pocket watching right now, but I don't like when I'm giving a dude a max contract and he can't be on the floor in the last 5 minutes because he can't score.
That's Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
As big as he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's basically like defensively, amazing. But then I've also seen him in the playoffs get absolutely smoked. So, and you know, he had the fallout in Utah with Donovan Mitchell, and them two are no longer there. But for me, it hasn't been a surprise for how well Oklahoma City has done this year because I was big on them coming into the year.
Why though? Like what? I wouldn't, bro. I just didn't see that coming. So what in your mind, like what did you see last year that you said, okay, cool, this is going to be a residual effect?
Well, a lot of it was banking on SGA being that next dude, which he was with All NBA, right? They got a defensive guy in Dort who seen him and like be able to not shut down, because you don't really shut down anybody, but hold his own on the wing against other guys. You get the Chet element, which, yeah, he's a rookie, but he's 1 year in the NBA. So he got to work with a professional team, got the right nutrition and all that stuff, right? It's like when Blake Griffin got hurt his rookie year.
Oh yeah.
Comes in his second year.
Crazy.
And he went nuts. And then you just look at it like, you know, Chet, Dort, Josh Giddey played well for them last year too. But mostly it's SGA, man. It's SGA. And I think that because they were such a young team, and they still are a young team, and bro, like talk about a team for the future. They got like 20 first-round picks that they've accumulated. So they can make crazy trades, whether in the offseason or next trade deadline, because the trade deadline came and went. But they could give up like 7 first-round picks to get a big name without mortgaging any other players.
Right.
So I think that's a team that it's crazy to think that they had that wild window like a decade ago.
Yeah.
For Harden, Russ, and Durant, and then they rebuilt, and it was ugly for a minute.
Super ugly.
And then
how do you
just
feel
great.
about the trades? Like Who do you think was the biggest takeaway? I like PJ Washington to the Mavs. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that is huge. I'm so happy for him.
Well, bro, I mean, the
He's
one
in a good place right now.
Yeah, and we were talking about this
Yeah.
before we started recording, and the reason why I'm smiling is because Miami got a dog,
They got Rozier.
and
They're
Miami is every year around this time, bro.
They
Every
turn it up.
year they just lock in. They're a team that don't care where they gotta be.
Mhm.
They were AC last year.
Yeah,
Like they don't care.
they're gonna beat whoever.
Yeah, and then this playoff Jimmy Butler is a real thing. Like, dude is like a top 25 guy in the league, closer to 25 than to 1. And then come playoff time, it's shit, man. I feel like he's like a top 3 guy in the playoffs
Facts.
just because how he elevates. And
Facts.
that's what you want. That's what you want in a superstar and a franchise player.
But can Rozier stay healthy?
Right.
And can Robinson stay healthy? Can Hero stay healthy? Those are the biggest takeaways for the Heat. If they can keep them 3 guys healthy, especially Rozier, because he's stirring the boat right now. He's a starting PG. If he can stay healthy, knees, ankle, body wise, they're gonna go far.
Yeah. And it's crazy
They
that
gotta
they
keep him
got
healthy.
they got so far last year without Tyler Hero because he was hurt in the playoffs and they went to the finals. And look, man, I know sometimes he's a very polarizing player on NBA Twitter and NBA social media, but this dude he was their second best player last year
Yeah,
and second
facts.
best scorer.
Yeah.
And of course you got Bam. He's a guy he's
I like
he's just a
Bam.
dog too.
I like
yeah, he's
Bam.
one of my favorite players in the league.
I like Bam as a big. He really is the definition of a big. I
Yeah.
don't know
And
what happened.
Duncan Robinson gave him nothing last year, and this year he's contributing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like they're a team that you always gotta. It's around this time, February, March. Like we talk about Boston, we talk about Milwaukee, talking about the
76ers,
Knicks,
the Sixers,
right?
Yeah.
You talk about the Sixers in the East, and then it's like, yo, bro, don't forget.
You think Embiid's done for the year?
I don't think he's done, but I mean, if he's done, then they're done.
Then they're done.
Yeah, for as good as Maxey has been, and he's having not even a breakout year because he had a breakout year last year, and I think the decision to move on from James Harden was a lot easier because of how well he played. But without Embiid, that's your game record there. That's 35 and 15 in the playoffs.
Kyle Lowry's there, but I don't think he's going to make a difference. He's older. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
I like Kyle. Well, I liked him when he was obviously Kyle Lowry, but now he's just kind of. I'm saying.
What team do you root for?
Well, I have a couple of teams I like watching. Players, obviously, but the Minnesota Timberwolves has been like my team to watch this year because the way he performs and he gives it his all every night. Then, not to mention his off the court character is what to me sells him as catapulting, like beating Ja Morant in all aspects because of how
he's marketable.
He's marketable. How he conducts himself outside of basketball and the court in a way he's giving it his all. He wants to win now. Anthony Edwards wants to win, so I like watching them. Obviously, I like watching Steph. Not really a big fan of the Lakers. I like watching the Bucks. I like watching the Celtics, and I like the Heat and the Knicks, depending on the matchups and who they're playing. I just like watching like certain players. So I'm not like a team fan. I'm more like a player. I like watching certain players. I just like them playing at that high level. It's impressive all the time.
For sure. And I think a lot of people feel that way too, man. And it's hard. Like I'm a Knicks fan, but you know,
Sometimes it's hard to watch them.
Yeah. Yeah. But what's cool is, man, when they're good, there's no place like MSG.
What do you guys need though?
For as much as I love Jalen Brunson and he's outperformed that contract and he's gotten shitted on for that contract and the Knicks got made fun of for that contract.
Yeah.
They still need and this is obviously like, yeah, no shit. Who wouldn't need a Kevin Durant or like a Jimmy Butler?
They need a star.
They need a star on like the wing. Like
Why
a Tatum.
haven't they been able to get one since Carmelo?
Well, with Carmelo, they got him because he wanted to go there, and then they gave up. And that's why Carmelo was, I was just talking about this recently. I don't even know if it was on the pod or if just like on the side, just talking with friends. Because Carmelo got mad shit from Knicks fans, and his career aged so well after.
Mm-hmm.
Like now when he goes back to the Garden, there's so many people, and me
They
myself.
appreciate him now.
I'm like,
they know,
damn, bro.
They haven't got nobody since him, bro.
Yeah, like dude wanted to come here when no one wanted to come here.
Mhm.
So there is a level of appreciation. However, he was so hell-bent on playing for the Knicks anyway.
Mhm.
Why do that trade in the middle of the season that led to all these draft picks leaving? And you know, I think like Jamal Murray ended up being one of the draft picks. Obviously, you didn't know that that's who it was going to become. Like
Mhm.
with SGA, right? Like the Clippers, the draft picks that they gave up, one of them to the Thunder ended up being SGA. They didn't know that, but you make that trade if you get Paul George and Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew that SGA was going to be a top 5 guy in the league this year?
Right.
Like he's an MVP
You
candidate.
don't know.
You
those
never know.
things.
You never know. And I'm someone that
It's all a gamble.
I would always take the known commodity from the unknown.
Mhm.
Like if I could get a dude that's 23 years old, he's in the league, and I know for a fact that he could play, I'd rather take him than take the 19-year-old kid that might not pan out.
Mm-hmm.
So with SGA and that trade, it's kind of similar like with the Knicks and like Melo. That's the kind of player that they need now. Like if they had Melo now with this team,
That'd be
whoa.
nice. That'd be nice.
Like a guy that can actually get
That'd
you
be
a
nice.
bucket when you need to, create his own offense. And Brunson is that, but you need more.
So if you can pick one guy in the league right now, let's say, okay, cool. You get one guy to pick to go to the Knicks, no trades, no nothing. Who are you picking to put on that team? I know you might have mentioned his name.
Tatum.
So you putting Tatum on the Knicks.
Yeah.
Tatum goes to the Knicks. What happens to the Knicks?
They win the title.
Easy.
Yeah, relatively. I think breeze through the East. But again, that's why it's so hard to find a guy like Tatum. And
Okay.
that's why I also said
Who would
that,
be your second guy outside of Tatum?
I mean, bro, there's so many. But I'm talking about
I just need one.
Yeah,
I need who was your second guy outside of Tatum?
I mean, Luka.
Oh, shit.
Luka played with Brunson also.
To the Knicks?
But again, like everyone listening to this is probably like, no shit, bro. Like what other teams wouldn't need those guys too? But I'm saying like the type of player needs to be that wing that could
Some
score.
players don't mesh well. I mean, not to say that Damian Lillard's not meshing well, but I was expecting him with Giannis, with Middleton, with everyone else. The Bucks should be, but some nights they're looking like that, and some nights they getting blown out by a dub.
Well, it's also because he's not a good defender. And the thing that made Milwaukee great these last couple of years is because they had Drew Holiday that you could throw on the guards. That's why not Phoenix. That's why the Celtics are doing so well too.
Oh, because they have Drew.
They got Drew over there.
Oh,
so they're so much better defensively, and they were already a good defensive team because they had Marcus Smart. But Dame going to Milwaukee and you losing Drew Holiday, that's what was going to happen, bro. He was your defensive stopper, and he was a guy that could also generate offense. Offensively, it's an upgrade. But defensively, that's why
they lack.
You have.
That's why they're giving up. They're
What has
making
gone
points.
down?
They have to outscore their opponents now.
Yeah.
Oh, makes sense.
And sometimes those shots don't fall, and then that's what happens.
Sometimes they're not. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, it's All-Star Weekend. Then, now, forever. We bet the over in the All-Star game. Do it. It's basically free money every year. It's the only thing that I use the L word for, Wayne, when it comes to sports betting. The L word is lock on this lovely Valentine's Day.
Make sure y'all bet McClung to win a dunk contest. Nobody in the world is beating that kid. It's nice.
Yeah, I remember last year he was like plus 120.
Yeah, he's probably going to be like
That was-
minus 180.
Yeah, now it's, yeah. Hey, Wayne, this was fun, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Always, brother.
Coming through in the clutch. Let the people know where they can find you on social.
You guys can follow me on Instagram at The Creator, spelled THECR 38TOR.
At Nick Day is Tenders. You can find me. All things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Better than that. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be